I was sitting in Hydebank Secure College in Belfast. The room is small and it's bright and it's clean and it has 2 sofas made into a triangle with a flip chart. And it always smells like really strong coffee and burnt toast. I lead a regional preventative program to end violence against women and girls. And a lot of our focus is on engaging men and boys in this vital work. So myself, I've worked with thousands of them, thousands of men. And we've had some really successful outcomes together. But for the last 3 years, I've been designating 2 days of my week to working with men in prison. And prisons like Hydebank Secure College, which I mentioned. And these men are in prison for crimes or on the allegations of crimes. And these crimes can include robbing people's houses, stealing people's cars, selling drugs, a lot of them violent crimes, and a lot of them are violent crimes against women and girls. There's a young man in this room sitting across from me. The men in this room are all 18 to 21, which I'm working with today. And there's a young man, and he's staring straight at me. And he's small for his age, but he sits with squared shoulders and wide legs, and he takes up as much space as he possibly can. He's wearing a grey tracksuit, and he has the trainers on that have the bubbles that always burst. And he has a fresh, slick haircut, because one advantage of prison is that you can always get a fresh haircut because there is always someone training to be a barber. And as I said, he's staring straight at me, but his eyelids are half closed and his lips are pursed. And around him, I notice that all of the other participants are engaging really well. They're asking questions and they're telling stories. But with every single thing that I say, or every single thing that they say, this boy rolls his eyes. Because he is desperate to let me and them know that he doesn't want to be here. Well, that's okay. This is our first session. And he doesn't know it yet. But I believe in him so deeply. I believe in him the same as I believe in my own son, who is a 15-year-old boy, who has the same pursed lips, same defiant posture, same love for a slick hairstyle tracksuit combo. When I talk about my work in prisons, a lot of really well-meaning people on the outside, men and women, say to me, would it not be better, Tahnee, if a man were to speak to these boys, man to man? And I think that phrase is batted about a lot, man to man. And I get it, I do. I understand it. You need to see it to be it. I get that. Men's clubs and men's societies are really important places of strength and safety and solidarity. And they're needed as our world moves more and more to the online world. A male allyship in ending violence against women and girls is vital. In fact, it's a piece of the jigsaw that has historically and catastrophically been missing. But as we get into our stride, and more men are coming on board and challenging the ideas and attitudes which lead to violence against women and girls and misogyny, there's a new and dangerous idea that's seeping in. And it's the idea that men and boys will only listen to a man. It's the idea that only a man can inspire and motivate another man. And the dangerous idea that only a man can lead men. Was that not the issue to begin with? That we couldn't recognize another gender's humanity and therefore their opinion was void? Well, today in this room, it's not a man, it's me. And I don't give up easily on people, I never have. This boy doesn't know it yet, but I will welcome his questions, all of his questions. And in fact, I'll spend 80% of my time working with him, trying to make him feel safe enough to ask those questions. He doesn't know it yet, but I will nurture every little bit of engagement I get from him, and I will reinforce every slightly empathetic thing he says. And I will celebrate as our conversation becomes more and more constructive. And we'll explore the deeply nuanced subject of violence against women and girls together, and the even more nuanced subject of violence against women and girls in Northern Ireland. And I'll see how it's affected his life too. Because from my work in prisons, I know that so many men will have watched the abuse of their mother from a young age. And that will have changed the trajectory of their whole life. Because how couldn't it? And as we speak, our conversation will get more and more comfortable. He'll start to build the skills he needs to speak about a topic that he already felt on the back foot about. And he will learn to have a conversation with a woman that doesn't escalate into an argument, even though we don't agree on everything. I was going to say anything, but everything. And he will learn to critically examine the information that I put in front of him and see life through another person's perspective. And when he does that, his world will stop feeling like an echo chamber. It'll feel bigger. Because before this, the only ideas he's heard have been the ones from his doorstep community, the ones from his peer group, and the ones from his online algorithm, which are a mirror match to his own. And once he starts to hear new ideas, his world will get bigger. And I know at first that will feel frightening. But in time, I know it will feel like freedom. This work is so important. The legacy of conflict in Northern Ireland, the idea of say nothing, the idea of keep yourself to yourself, and the coercive control of entire communities by paramilitary organizations has meant that violence against women and girls is so prevalent in Northern Ireland that we almost see it as inevitable. We see it as an ingrained evil which is so much a part of our everyday lives that we see no end to it. Femicide dominates the headlines, and support services really struggle. And I know on my worst days and my worst nights, I struggle. And I struggle with the question, did I do enough today? But we keep our eyes on the prize, because prevention and early intervention are vital. They're not just nice add-ons. My team are strengthened by the fact that they are really diverse, like all the best teams. And they're experts, but they're experts in their own right, and that expertise comes from very different backgrounds. The pockets of change that we've created together across the country are slowly growing, and I believe in our work more than ever. There are men on my team who can inspire and motivate and lead young men towards change and towards a changed society, as I know I can as well. It was Bell Hooks who said, it has always been women who, by loving men, have urged them to move past the emotional shutdown that the patriarchy has imposed. Isn't that the truth? And Andy Murray was the first high-profile male tennis player to hire a female coach. Her name was Amelie Mauresmo. And this decision was heavily slated by other athletes and by the media. But Amelie Mauresmo wasn't even Andy Murray's first female coach. It was Judy Murray. It was his mother who had introduced him to the game of tennis and coached him until he was 15. There's a harmful social norm that men should only listen to other men's podcasts, watch male influencers, read books wrote by other men, therefore robbing them of half of the incredible insights the rest of the population can provide. The young man that I spoke about at the start, he would go on to ask if he could do the course again, and he would actually encourage other boys to do so as well. It wasn't a man he needed, and it wasn't a woman, for that matter, either. It was empathy. It was someone who tried to genuinely connect with him, but challenged him, but with the right measures. And I think about him, and I know I will never be in the circles he will be in when he leaves prison. And I can do very little about the attitudes and beliefs towards a woman's place in society that will exist in those social circles. But now he can. Mentorship transcends gender boundaries and tired stereotypes. I know I'm a product of an environment where I was deeply inspired by the men and the women around me. So today, I'm calling on us all to remember that the chances that we get to inspire and influence and learn from each other are precious and they are limitless. And we can end violence against women and girls, but only if we do it together. Thank you.